Need my pliers. Are you like me? Do you always set stuff down and can't find it again? Yeah. Oh, right on the tire. Duh. You could have told me. Probably saw him. Hi, I'm Matt, and this is Procrastination Garage. It's Monday morning, a little after 11 a.m., and we need to do some work on the mower. Yeah, the clue is probably the hood being up and the seat being up. So last time I mowed, I ran out of gas. I filled the tank up, went back to mowing, and the whole time after I filled it up, I was smelling gas. And off and on I've been smelling gas, and off and on I've been finding a puddle, I thought under the front, that was fuel on the ground, but I'm not 100% sure. So my concern is that I've got a problem with fuel lines. Starting here, maybe working all the way up to the front. One of my concerns was when I started mowing again, I've got a bunch of grass area that really looks kind of dead, like maybe I leaked some fuel out there. I don't know. But my thought was, let's replace all the fuel lines on this thing, and that'll take care of the issue unless I've got a hole in the tank. And odds of that are slim. So let's get to work on it. Since it's already 88 degrees outside, how about we move the side-by-side out and we work right there. Sound good? At a minimum, I want to run new fuel line from the filter up underneath the chassis back into here. I do have a new fuel filter, and I think I have enough stuff to replumb all of this as well. So that's the goal. We're going to start right here. I'm going to get this area all cleaned up so that stuff doesn't fall down in the gas tank. This thing has a reserve on it. Now you've got your regular position and your reserve position, which probably should have replaced that switch too. I didn't do that. Anyway, the non-reserve, the normal position hasn't worked in a long time. We're going to find out why. It's probably the pickup tube off of one of these that goes down in, rotted away or broke loose or something. We'll figure it out. I fired up the air compressor so I can use a little bit of air to blow this out, and when that happened, all the vibration in here, the mower deck just fell out. So that's a good thing. That'll make more room up underneath there for routing new fuel line. Okay, let's get this cleaned up now. That didn't take long. A little bit of air and that cleaned right up. All right, let's get the fuel lines off. Oh, that was nice. Okay. How come that one wasn't clamping? All right, I'll remove these two. You don't need to see that. Let's see if we can get these out. Now, one's white and one's black. I almost wonder if this has been worked on before. So see the two different lengths there? This one goes to the bottom of the tank. This one only goes part way down. Now, interestingly, that one's got a kink in it, but this was the one that I think I was using. Although I'm not 100% sure on that. We'll see if we can reuse these. I bought new little rubber, I don't know what they're called. I don't know if I need them or not. These came out like they were pretty tight, so maybe they're okay. All right, I'm reusing this little grommet thing. Put a little axle grease on it just to help it slip down in there, I think. Okay. And then I'll put a little axle grease around the little tube part. And then we'll slide that back down. Nice. All right, we'll do the other one too. I was playing around with this valve a little bit, and it needs to be replaced. It's a little sloppy, and the other thing is when I have it one direction and I blow, you should be able to blow through one end or the other and it'll come out here. But one end, when it blows out or doesn't, it isn't supposed to blow out over here. I'm getting a little bit of leakage somewhere. So I think we'll put it back together without this valve, and then I'll go ahead and order one and replace it when it comes in. Next step up is replacing that fuel line. So what I'm thinking is my new fuel line, what if I just duct tape it to this one and then see if I can work it through and it'll follow the same route as that one. We'll try it. All right, just taking a short break and asking for a favor. Please hit the like button, please leave me a comment, and please subscribe. Oh, and tell all your friends. Thank you. I've got the fuel line taped together. The new line is nowhere near as durable as the stuff I'm pulling out. It's a lot thinner. It's 1/4 inch. Hopefully it won't be affected by fuels, although I use good gas in this thing. So I don't know. But I'm disappointed in the quality of the fuel line. I really thought it would be thicker, more like what I am replacing. You won't see much except maybe that hose being dragged through, because I'm going to have to get down underneath. Yeah, maybe I can change views here a little bit. Honestly, I don't know if this view is any better. I guess you'll see me down on the ground, squirming around, agonizing over my back aches and stuff. So we'll see what happens. Alright, that wasn't terrible. What we're going to do, let's go ahead and put a clamp on that end. New fuel line came with new clamps, and since they're smaller diameter, that's probably a good thing. So we're going to just hook it to this tube over here, which was the long tube. Alright. Alright, let me reroute it underneath there where it was. I should take a zip tie and there was one electrical bundle that was connected to the fuel line with a zip tie. And then the fuel line is actually in little metal clips that you just bend. All right, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to replace that fuel filter. I'm going to replace the line up to the fuel pump. I will probably replace the line from the fuel pump to the carburetor as well. That means taking the hood off. Taking the hood off is really pretty easy. You've got that electrical connector there to undo, and then the hood basically just lifts off of 2 pins. Let me do it and I'll show you when I'm done. The hood is off. So you can see a little metal finger there. It goes down in here and turns around that. You just got to find the right angle when you're putting the hood on there, and then you feel it drop down in. Like I said, the electrical connector. No biggie, it just pulls free. Okay, so now I'm going to take the air cleaner off, I don't know if we have to take off this plastic engine cover or not. Just like that. What do you think? Do you think it's been abused a little bit? Look at that air cleaner. All right, we're going to replace that and the fuel line. And I didn't even show you the mower belt on this thing. Look at that. Yeah, time to replace that too. I took the air cleaner off, but I probably should have left it on there, because now I need to take the air cleaner housing off in order to get at the fuel line. Yeah, pretty dirty all around that carburetor. We'll clean it up best we can. Or we could just take it off completely and give it a good cleaning. Yeah, that's what I did. So to get it off, you've got to get loose a couple of little throttle linkages. You've got electrical up on top to unplug, and fuel line. Seemed like there was one other thing. When I put it back together, I'll show you more detailed. Not too difficult. All right, we're not doing a complete tear down. We are going to pull the bowl off just to make sure there's no gunk. Uh-oh, we're trying not to do that. Trying to keep all the pieces where they're supposed to be. So I don't have to try and figure that out. I think it was like that. All right. Carb cleaner or brake cleaner is your friend. Stuff just makes it disappear. All right, it drains, but it cuts through just about everything. The goal is to get it onto the towel and not inside the carburetor. Know what I mean, Vern? Guess we should do the body before we move on to the inside. Now let's pull the bowl off. I expect it to be pretty clean. I think the air cleaner has been doing its job. And I always use good gas. Although I'm not sure I've had this carburetor apart since my neighbor gave me this mower. Doubt he had it apart. Who knows, maybe. Look at that, clean as a whistle. All right, we will pull that jet just to make sure. Did that fade off as I walked away. Pull the jet just to make sure. That screwdriver doesn't fit. That one was too big. This one is marginally too small. But jet wasn't real tight. Oops. What's that? Come out of that one. Must rest on the bottom because that's not. All right, we'll pull that one too. I can look through the sunlight. Look through the hole, see sunlight. So that's clean. We're going to say that one's good. Yep, it's coming out the other end. Again, I didn't really think I needed to tear this apart. It's been running okay. Since we were there. So that thing there needs to swell up a little bit and fit better, but that's all right. And I'll put a little bit through there. Yeah, screwed in the right way, Matt. All right, and we're going to say that's good enough. So that looks fine. We'll plunger on there. I don't know what that's for. Oh, I think it's a shutoff. And it goes like that. Perfect. Holes line up, pins line up. You know, 99 times out of 100, that's all the carb cleaning you need to do on just about any small engine carb. Just open it up, check the bowl. I didn't check the needle and seat. Pull them out. Spray some carb cleaner everywhere. Don't adjust the settings. I mean, unless there was something wrong with them before, no reason to. People seem to think it's rocket science, but if you can take it apart and put it back together the same way you found it and clean it, 9 times out of 10, like I said, 99 out of 100, that cures it. All right, so we'll just spray some carb cleaner. You can see there's a lot of buildup there. Yeah, so she wasn't 100% clean. Clean enough, just a lawnmower. All right, we're calling it. So both those rods go down like that, and let's get them hooked back up. One more time up here. I'm still seeing dirt here. All right. I would argue this is the hardest part, putting back together. Okay, so this one here has to go in first. It goes in this, you probably can't even see it, it's this outer hole here. I took some pictures so I knew for sure where it went, but I just remember to. So that goes there, and then line up the carburetor holes, slide it on, like that. Okay, and then I don't know, can you see this one back in here? It needs to go through a hole there, and then it has this little clip here that once you go through, that comes up and holds on this. Probably doesn't make any sense. Once I get it through, I'll show you. So hold it from the back side, push the rod through. Once the rod is through, fold that clip up and snap it like that. And then the only other thing is you've got this little spring here, which is actually kind of mangled, which is probably due to me. So we'll try and unmangle it. And that spring needs to go through a hole. Right there. Okay, so the linkage is all done. So the other thing we've got to do, this is the electrical connection here. The other wire's right there. Push that together just like that. And then this ground wire here, ground's right there. I just push that all the way. Ground wire ground wire screws right there. So the only thing left is the fuel line over on this side, but we're going to replace that first. So let me take this one off and measure it, and we'll cut a new one. I don't know if you can see, kind of dark in there. There's the new fuel line attached at that end. I'm just going to leave it unhooked here. I'm going to pull this air box all the way off, spray it down with carb cleaner, get it all cleaned up before we put it back on. So to do that, I'm going to need to disconnect that line there, and I think that's it. There was another line off of the fuel pump, but it has since fallen loose. All right, ready to put the air box back in place. So, little gasket here, that had come off, put that back on, only goes one way. And then this is what's got to be hooked up to the air box. These are the nuts for the air box. Put them right up there. All right. Piece of cake. Why does that feel like it? No, that's right. Okay. Tighten those bad boys up. All right, nice. And then use my pliers. If you like me, do you always set stuff down? Can't find it again. Yeah, oh, right on the tire. Duh. You could have told me. Probably saw them. Come on. All right, looking good. Okay, so now we need to, I guess, put the cover back in place and get the fuel pump hooked up. Okay, I've done quite a bit without you guys. So what have I done? The fuel line coming off the carburetor, brought it up, hooked it up to the fuel pump there. I installed the fuel pump. This little pulse line here, it had come out of this hole here, so I put a little bit of grease on the end of the rubber there, slid it in there, and then there was a zip tie holding it at the top. I replaced that with a clamp. I redid the fuel line from here down to the filter, put a new filter on, and then cut off the remaining line in there. Now when you install a filter, check them carefully. They should have an arrow pointing at which direction the fuel flows, and so that one is installed correctly. Anyway, for the cover here, I got all the bolts installed. You know what? I say that. I'm ready for a new air cleaner. I don't have those two bolts installed right there. I will do that. Interesting finds on the fuel filter I took off. One end of it looked real good. The other end, not so much. Not sure what was going on there. Don't think it was leaking. But look at this, the old fuel line. There's a bad spot there, and I bet you it was leaking there. So that's probably what was killing my grass. Now my thought is it was probably getting down there, dripping on the belt, and the belt was kind of throwing it out on the grass, because I didn't have just like a dribble mark. I just have large sections of grass that are looking kind of dead. So what I don't like, this fuel line here, what it looks like, this outer hose protects an inner hose. The inner hose is, I don't know, seems to be, well, I don't know, it's not the same size, but it kind of feels like the same size of hose I'm using. I'm wondering if I should get some of that loom protector stuff. In fact, I may even have some. And the part of the fuel line that goes down underneath the mower, maybe I should encase it in that. I like that idea. What do you think? So now we need to go to Tractor Supply. We need to go to Tractor Supply. And we need to get a new air filter and a new belt. I thought I had a new air filter. In fact, I do have new air filters. A couple of them. Not for this mower. And maybe up there somewhere I do. Honestly, it'll just be easier to go buy one. And plus, it's always good to have spare, so if somewhere in here there is one, maybe I'll find it one day and use it. So that's it for now. I had to take the guards off the end of the mower deck. Look like that. 2 bolts on each side. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take a picture, or a video in this case, and that way I'll know how to route it, because you always think you know how, and turns out you don't. So I'm going to go ahead and get this old belt off here so we can take it and match it. The belt is removed. We got some cleaning to do there. And then I decided I wanted to look at the blades. I know lighting is bad. I'm mainly looking for broken or bent, and none are. They're dull. They're very dull. So we'll sharpen them before we put it back together. But I'm saving my money and not buying new ones. So just a belt and an air filter. Oh, so the little valve that I need for there, I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, I went on Amazon. I didn't find a direct replacement, but I found one that'll work. It's on order. 17 bucks for that little sucker. Anyway, when it comes in, we'll install it. It's supposed to be here Wednesday. And in the meantime, I need to block this one off so gas doesn't come bouncing out of there. Which reminds me, if I'm headed to Tractor Supply, I should go to the gas station, fill up some gas cans too. So my trip to Tractor Supply was a bust. They didn't have the air filter or a belt. So after doing some searching, Lowe's is the only place I have to go. So instead of going to Taco Bell, I decided to go to McDonald's and grab myself some French fries and a Diet Coke. Mainly the Diet Coke because I'm just dehydrated. So let's get to Lowe's. Made it to Lowe's, just came out, bought my belt and the air filter. They had both. That's a win. So shopping tip, when you come to Lowe's or any of these places with curbside pickup, if that is the best parking in the lot, use it. You know what? There's no reason not to. I mean, anybody that comes here to go in the store versus somebody going to sit out in their car and not come in the store, screw that. So I always use it. I was headed for the military parking, but this is actually a better spot. So anyway, I did switch vehicles. I'm now in the Copper Toad. I had started in the truck when I was shopping in Sela, and since I had to run home anyway and I had gas cans in the back, I decided to take the Copper Toad. So my McDonald's French fries are gone. My soda is nearly gone. It'll be gone by the time I get home. So let's get home, and then we're going to have to decide. My focus seems to be going. We'll have to decide if we're going to finish working or not, because it is, can you read that? 99 degrees. Yeah, you probably can't see that. Anyway, let's go home. It's coming up on 4:30. Where does the time go? Anyway, we're back. There is a new air filter that needs to just sit down on there. That's easy enough. We can do that. Just like that, except we really need to put this on first. And what you're supposed to do with this, you're supposed to oil it. So what I do is I kind of soak it in oil, then I squeeze the excess oil out, and that goes around the outside. That is a pre-filter. Let me do it and I'll show you. There's what it looks like ready to go on. I pre-oiled the green part, and that's what I had laying around. That's what I used right there. So let me get that in place and we'll latch the cover. Got it sitting down on there. That needs to go down and latch. I can't do it with one hand. It tried to fight me, but it's done now. That I can do with one hand. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do, I found I do have some of this wire loom protector, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on the fuel line, basically from the fuel filter all the way back to coming up through there. I'm not going to show you, I'm just going to do it. I'm sure it comes as no surprise I had to take the fuel line all the way out to get that stuff on it and put it back, but not a big deal. Just run all the way back to here, so we're good to go. Alright, still need to block off that one there. Let's see what we can find. Years ago I bought this set of plugs, and basically there's a size for blocking just about everything. So that one right there is the one that fits. I'm going to take it off this little chain here, push it into place. When I get the new parts in to finish it, then I will pull it off and put it back together. And just like that, it is plugged. So now the fuel system is done. This mower is ready to run. But let's get back to the mower deck. What's going on with my light here? That's awful. Okay, that's better. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the blades off and sharpen them. Just on the grinder, nothing special. Not going to show you. I've done it before. I'll show you when I'm done. Blades are sharpened and back installed. Can you tell? It's probably just as well you can't look too close. It's kind of a butcher job, but you know what? It's good enough. Alright, now let's clean the top of the deck off. See the mess I made? And I had to close the door. Let me show you why. Yeah, all that mess there. Okay, not the cat. Hi, Bailey. Anyway, that all blew in before I was even doing the cleaning. And then once I was doing the cleaning, it got even worse. Anyway, so it's mostly blown out. It's not perfect, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Just got to remove all the stuff that might start a fire. So now let's get the new belt on there and laid out properly, and then we'll get it back up underneath the machine. I got to tell you, with the door closed, it is getting hot in here. All right, looking at the video that I did before, yeah, I had to. That's the way it's supposed to be routed. So I do have to put back one little metal bracket piece right down there, which mounts to that pulley. And then I don't know if you can see, there's a little, where is it? Little hole right there that it goes down into. Anyway, once I get that done, I will get the deck up underneath there and start getting it hooked back up. One thing I almost forgot, I noticed when I disassembled that that wheel's loose. So those are the tools necessary to tighten it back up. And looking at the others, I think maybe that one there needs a little work. But that one for sure, because I need to do it right now because I can't easily reach it once it's up under the machine. Alright, so I meant to show you guys when I hooked the deck back up and I kind of forgot. So I'll walk you through it. I turn on my light, my flash, but unfortunately my battery's too low. So first thing you gotta do is that bar that comes across there, you can see the pin. There's a washer and a pin. So you put that piece in first. That was at the front if you didn't figure that out. So then you come around to the back on the right hand side, and that pin off to the right there, that's a rod that comes straight through at you. Washer goes over it, that pin goes in. The next thing you want to do, and I already did it on the other side, is this bar here comes up and it needs to go over that little pin right there. I can't hold the camera and do it at the same time, so there it is, not installed, and I'll show you in a second when I get it on there. It was just a matter of sliding the mower deck back a little bit, and you put a washer over it, and then you got one of these pins. Push them from the forward to backwards so they don't come out. I don't know if you can see there, and that's what it is. So you need to do both of the front ones, but you can do one side and then the other, and that's what I've done here. So the other side is completely done. So the last thing is this here. It needs to go over that pin there that I'm hitting. That's about the only lifting you have to do in this whole process. So what I do is I lift the deck up from the outside just a little bit, slide that over it, and then there's another pin and washer that goes on there. I'll show you in a second. Okay, I lifted up the deck just a little bit to get that on there. And let's see if I can do this through looking through the camera lens. There's the washer. There's the pin. So that's it, except for the belt. So this bar here on this mower is an adjuster. So if I pull that loose, that loosens up the whole mechanism so I can get the belt around that pulley up under there. Again, I can't hold the camera and show you. Alright, I pulled the belt as far forward as I could to get it around that pulley. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but it goes. And then, last thing you gotta do is this adjuster here. Bring it back. Yeah, it's hard to do one hand. And lock it in place just like that. So now this mower deck is back on, everything's good, but I still need to, well, a couple things I need to do. Oh, you know what I was gonna do? I need to grease these spindles, and I can still reach the middle one, so I'll be able to do that. So I'm gonna grease the spindles, and then I'm gonna move it outside, fire it up, and rotate the blades to make sure that the belt is doing what it's supposed to. The reason that last belt was so tore up is because it actually came off and got caught. That belt isn't that old. Anyway, so once I do that, then I can put these the little plastic cover things back on. I'm not going to bother showing you that. They just bolt on 2 bolts, no big deal. So that's it. This project is done, except for putting the hood back on, I guess. Inches in. Hook up the electrical. All right, we've reached to the end of another episode of Procrastination Garage. Thanks for hanging around. I know this one was kind of long, but it's all one subject. Hope somebody gets some use out of it, or at least find it entertaining. So I have to apologize. I know it's been a long time since I posted a video. And the funny thing is I had the content. I was actually editing on this video, but there was so much editing that needed to be done. And every time I thought about it, I just put it off and didn't want to do it. Plus a few other things were going on. Finally, I decided to buckle down and get it done. Got more content coming, and I do plan on getting back to closer to a 1 week or maybe 2 week schedule. So sorry about the delay. Anyway, thanks again for hanging around. Leave me a comment, tell me what's going on. Appreciate it. And remember, my name is Matt, Procrastination Garage, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.